50 Cent has completely violated Jim Jones and his whole podcast and everybody he know.
Again.
It started when Jim Jones and the members of the Let's Rap About It podcast had the audacity to suggest that 50 Cent's Diddy documentary probably was in poor taste.
When somebody doing a documentary about you, you want it to be a dope documentary.
It gotta be dope.
Showing who you are, what you've done.
I don't know, bull.
You've accomplished. Like, a documentary is a big thing. Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about some, like, trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's petty behavior.
Yeah, and 50 Cent ain't like that shit.
50 Cent wakes up, he goes on Instagram and tells everybody, yo, my Netflix Diddy doc is #1 in so many countries. If you're upset about it, well, that's your right. The man is proud of doing this doc, and he does not want anybody to tear it down.
So 50, you know, when 50 cuts, he cuts hard.
Cut deep.
He starts going at their business.
50 Cent went on Instagram to call Jim Jones, Fabulous, Mano, and Dave East squatters. He posted the definition of squatters, which is an individual who occupies a property without legal title, permission, or a lease. Then he goes on to say in the caption, these guys are squatters. They owe $250K for the space they're filming their podcast in.
So for that reason, he started getting into his business. He got linked up with Jim Jones's landlord for the property that he runs his podcast on.
For like, since October. And so he keeps trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out and ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, I'm going to say it in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
He found out that he was in arrears with his rent, and he found out a lot of other stuff about him. He said he was getting his lights cut off.
And the heat was cut off.
He said the heat was cut off. He said all kinds of crazy stuff. He said they about to get put out into the street.
But hold up. But then Jim Jones came out and he did a disclaimer. He walked all through the building. He was showing how they got a studio and they had clothing line coming out.
He always had rebuttal.
With a coat on.
He always had a coat on. That is fair. And they had lunch looking like a homeless shelter on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving though, which is not a bad place. If you're gonna be the homeless shelter, Thanksgiving is a good day.
So don't say that. So were they outside or were they inside?
They was inside. You could just see their breath.
Wow. I thought that all this time I thought they was outside doing that, like on the street.
No, they was inside the ballroom or whatever they got inside of there. Anyway, Jim Jones, whatever came his way, he made a spin on it. Even when they said they said that he couldn't put stuff together in there, he said he was doing a construction show. That's why the heat is off. You know what I mean? He always had a rebuttal. Well, that's pretty much that's the end. His rebuttal should probably be over now. He was kicking and punching and screaming and yelling and the whole shit. 50 releases it because he know the landlord. That little the landlord, I think it's from Fagaria too. He wear a lot of scarves. Didn't nigga wear 2 scarves and shit?
I don't know.
Double sweaters and shit like that.
I never saw the landlord before.
You know they like to talk. I don't know if you know one thing about the Fagarian people. It's they're very vocal.
Allegedly,
they're a vocal race. They're a vocal race of people, of beings. And still, once again, Jim Jones, he kept his chin up. He stayed strong. He made jokes back. When they said he was kicking in the door, he said I was just doing karate. Like,
this nigga cares.
I hope you do all that shit when the sheriff come and moving all your shit out. He ain't never let him see you sweat.
Hey, that's also destruction of property, isn't it?
Right. But, which is interesting you would say that because apparently 50 Cent has now purchased the property from the Fagarian landlord. Those crafty Fagarians.
Son, stop. Son, just call him the landlord. Don't say
Part of
that,
this
man.
video, coming from Chig Smooth himself,
Shout out to Chig Smooth.
Resident Tether. 50 Cent buys Jim Jones podcast building. Shout out to Chig Smooth.
I see why somebody would want to relieve him of his soul on earth to get him up out of here. I can understand it now. 50 Cent is a demon. You guys can take that however you guys want to take it. Now, last night, I thought 50 Cent went overboard. Him posting the footage of Jim Jones kicking doors down at his podcast building, trying to get into his studio. I thought it was out of line and probably the worst thing that 50 Cent can possibly do to an enemy. But some way, somehow, things just got worse for Jim Jones. Y'all remember the landlord Sam that told 50 Cent that Jim Jones is a little bit late on...
Nigga, that's a good ass door.
Yeah, he stomping the hell out
That's
of
a rock solid.
it. I mean,
That's a rock solid
the
piece of
frame
construction.
the frame of it anyway.
Right. What's the
Absolutely.
brand? That's like a project door.
Yeah.
Want to rent it. And I said, okay, fine. Right? He's been saying this for since October. And he keeps trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want 6 months of build out. And ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But
He get in
he
there.
won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things.
They're open?
Yeah, it
He
opened.
finally kicked it in?
Yeah, he kicked, and then this man went in there.
So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, and I'm going to say it in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
Damn.
The monthly rent on the old lease.
Yeah, him, this guy. Well, looks like he linked up with 50 Cent, and 50 Cent actually bought the building. Yeah, let me run that back for you guys. 50 Cent has officially purchased the building that Jim Jones records his podcast studio in. 50 Cent posted this picture with the owner of the building, Sam. He says, Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Now you're gonna fix every door you kick, or I'm gonna kick your ass, Jimmy. By Monday, you're destroying my property. Then he goes on to prove he really does own the building by posting 30 different angles of Jim Jones kicking the doors down, like this shit was a Steven Spielberg movie.
Click the circuit breakers on his ass.
Yo, when you do that back mule kick, you ain't
That's
playing.
it. Nah, he trying to get in there.
You ain't playing.
Yeah.
That's when you lost your key, when you left your keys, when you know what I'm saying? There's somebody in the house, and you know they in the house and they act like they can't hear you.
And that leg gonna be hurting tomorrow.
Yeah, right, because they don't really do legs like that. Cut the lights off.
50 cut the lights off. That's not.
Jones actually knows about this transfer of ownership, but this is no longer a laughing matter. Last night, after 50 Cent exposed him for kicking the doors down, Jim Jones thought it was funny, so he made a light joke about it.
It's not funny, man.
He got in the caption and says, Kung Fu Jim is what they call him. I need a good movie to watch on this big screen. We got cable. Then he goes in the story and says, Kung Fu Jim, no locked doors. Bruh.
See, you know what I'm saying? He tried to keep his You try to keep his spirit and morale up.
Right.
Never let him see you sweat. Never let him get to you.
Right. Then they go to the house like an ostrich and
Right.
just stick his head in the ground and just don't
Cry.
Right.
Your podcast is in jeopardy. I'm sorry. At this point, you gotta file a restraining order on 50 Cent. And I know some of you guys out there are probably saying, Chiggs, this is corny. Let the man have his podcast. Let the man have his show. And I'm right there with you guys. I'm calling the cops. Not only are you messing with my podcast and my business, but now you're also messing with my money, my income, the income of my cast members. And knowing Jim Jones and how big his ego is, the man is not moving. He's going to stay right there in that building with his podcast equipment, and there's somebody to move him out the way. At this
The sheriff.
The main one.
Oh, but it's New York. New York, you can squat for a long time.
Oh,
he got him in.
Right. They squatters laws.
Right, yeah.